Exile. That's the solution, and I'm afraid it's the only solution.
Exile. That is the solution. And it is the only solution. Those were William's words, spoken quietly in a room where no cameras would ever reach. Hours before the official statement was released. But before those words were spoken, before the evidence was laid across a dying king's bedside table, before Camilla was escorted from the palace in the early hours of the morning, there was a maid standing at a second-floor window, watching a queen disappear into the dark. Eleanor Thompson had served the palace for decades. She had been there since the era of Queen Elizabeth II. She loved King Charles like a strict but kind father. On nights when he could not sleep from pain, she sat in the corridor outside his room, ready with herbal tea or a call to the doctor. She rarely complained. She rarely spoke about what she saw. But in the final weeks of winter 2026, Eleanor stopped sleeping. 5 nights at the window. A sound in the corridor past 11 at night. Footsteps moving quickly in the wrong direction, away from the king's quarters rather than toward them. The first night, Eleanor told herself she was imagining things. The second night, she stood near the back window and watched. Queen Camilla emerged from her private quarters wearing a dark coat and a baseball cap pulled low over her face. She crossed the rear courtyard quickly, moving with the practiced efficiency of someone who had done this before. No security escort, no official vehicle, just a plain black car idling near a side gate that most staff did not know existed. Eleanor watched her get in. The car disappeared into the London dark. Camilla returned around 3 or 4 in the morning, her hair slightly disheveled, her steps hurried and unnatural. The third night it happened again. The fourth night. The fifth. Each departure followed the same pattern. The same time, Eleanor recognized the man's face. She had served the royal family long enough to know every face connected to it, even in poor light, even after 30 years. Parker Bowles, Camilla's first husband. Eleanor sank into a chair with her hands shaking. She knew she could not stay silent. And she knew there was only one person she trusted to handle what she had seen without destroying the institution in the process. The next morning, she requested a private meeting with Prince William. The investigation, William hoped, would find nothing. William sat in silence as Eleanor spoke. His face showed no expression. His eyes darkened steadily. When she finished, he asked one question. "Are you certain?" She was certain. After she left, William sat alone for a long time. He wanted to dismiss everything. Camilla was his father's wife. She had stood beside Charles through the most difficult years, but the timing was impossible to ignore. Charles was growing weaker. Camilla's presence at his bedside had become shorter and more distracted. She found excuses to leave the palace with vague justifications that never quite added up. William called his trusted head of security into the room. His voice was low and decisive. "Follow the Queen discreetly. No noise. Report directly to me. Start tonight." Surveillance confirmed Camilla leaving the palace at 11:45 p.m., driving her own car without bodyguards. The car stopped at a small, discreet cafe on the outskirts of London. She met a man in a secluded corner. The gestures between them were not those of former acquaintances meeting casually. When the images were enlarged and sharpened, the face was unmistakable. Andrew Parker Bowles. William stared at the photographs. His knuckles went white against the arm of his chair. He ordered the investigation expanded immediately. Not just surveillance, financial records, every transfer, every account, every penny connected to Camilla or her family in the past 2 years. 30 million reasons. The financial results arrived within days. They were worse than anything William had prepared himself for. Over 30 million pounds had been moved through multiple complex layers of intermediary accounts. The final destinations were clear. Accounts directly linked to Tom Parker Bowles, accounts linked to Laura Lopez, business investments backed by Andrew Parker Bowles, all funded through channels traceable to royal funds and Camilla's privileged financial position. The investigation also turned toward Ray Mill House, Camilla's private residence in Wiltshire. A neighbor's security camera had been recording continuously for 2 years. The footage showed Andrew Parker Bowles visiting with alarming frequency, sometimes staying overnight. The body language captured on those recordings went far beyond the boundaries of old friendship. An elderly neighbor confirmed what the camera showed. Her voice trembled as she described years of visits. Laughter in the garden, intimate walks, a pattern that had been in plain sight for anyone paying attention. Evidence cut deeper. William recalled the image of Camilla sitting by his father's bedside, stroking his hand with a worried expression. All of it had been performance. While the cover-up that made it worse. Camilla sensed danger before anyone confronted her directly. She noticed staff being approached. An old assistant questioned about her schedule. A financial manager at Ray Mill House receiving an unusual call, she understood instantly. William had started looking. Her response was swift and cold. She ordered the urgent transfer of remaining funds out of connected accounts. More than 10 million pounds moved through offshore structures in a matter of days. She cut all direct contact with Andrew, communicating only through an emergency backup channel. The message she sent him was brief. Pause everything. William is watching. Do not contact me. Then came the most calculated move of all. After weeks of minimal presence at Charles's bedside, Camilla suddenly became the most devoted wife in the palace. She sat beside him for hours every day, holding his hand, speaking tender words in front of doctors and staff. The transformation was dramatic enough that several servants captured the scenes and circulated them internally. But the sudden devotion fooled nobody. Long-serving staff who had watched Camilla's absences for months noticed the change immediately. The woman who had been disappearing every night was now clinging to her husband around the clock. The pivot was too extreme and too perfectly timed to feel natural. Camilla also reached out to one of Charles's most trusted former advisors, hoping he would persuade William to halt the investigation. The advisor reported the conversation directly to William within the hour. Every attempt to erase the trail only made the trail more visible. The hasty financial transfers looked more suspicious than the original movements. The sudden bedside devotion looked more performative than genuine. The panicked contact with the advisor confirmed that Camilla knew exactly what was coming. The bedside where everything ended. It happened on a quiet weekend evening. Buckingham Palace was bathed in soft golden light. The door opened. William entered, followed by 2 security personnel carrying a thick file. The atmosphere changed instantly. Charles lifted his head. His eyes were tired, but more alert than they had been in weeks. William placed the file on the bedside table. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of everything he had spent weeks uncovering. I have something I must say to you, and Father should hear it too. He opened the laptop. The screen showed photographs. Camilla stepping out of the car at midnight. Camilla embracing Andrew at Ray Mill House. Security camera timestamp spanning 2 years. Then came the financial spreadsheets, specific figures, account numbers, destination funds. You have not only had an affair, William said, his voice steady and controlled. You have abused your position as queen for personal gain. You used royal money to support your own family and ex-husband while my father lies here fighting for his life. Charles looked at his wife. His voice was weak but clear. The words came slowly, each one carrying the weight of decades of trust. I protected you all these years. Why did you do this to me? Camilla attempted to redirect the blame toward William. She called it a misunderstanding. She claimed William wanted to remove her. She tried to invoke her role as Charles's wife. William cut through every deflection with evidence: images, bank records, witness statements.